The top 1% of crypto investors aren't smarter than you. They do things differently, and that's what I'm going to show you in this video. I'm Robin, and I've mentored over 1,000 investors in crypto and helped them to go from $10,000 to $100,000 and from $100,000 to over $1 million. So let's get into this. I've seen a lot of patterns and different ways how people become crypto millionaires. If you are stuck, it's because what works from $0 to $10,000 and from $10,000 to $100,000 or from $100,000 to $1 million, it just doesn't apply anymore. You're probably working on something that was working before but isn't any longer. To make this real, I will give you multiple examples of my own journey and experiences of investors that we have worked with. So when I initially started with crypto in 2017, this guy introduced me to crypto, and like his introduction was telling me crypto is easy money. You have to get into this now. It's going to be the future. By now you will be a millionaire in the next, like, let's say 2 years or something like that. And I don't know if you remember, but the first thing that you bought and I was also interested in was cloud mining. Remember that?
Really? Oh, yeah.
So it was like we were interested in passive income. Like usually the first thing that gets people interested in investing is the idea of putting money into something and then generating a return for the rest of their lives.
Doing nothing.
So this was my idea when I started out with crypto. But after the first crash, I realized, it's not that easy. And when the cloud mining platform...
Do you want to explain what it is for the people? Because I don't think they know what it is.
Cloud mining. Back in 2017, it was a really big thing. So you bought Bitcoin or like USD or whatever, and you send it to this platform. And with this money, they bought Bitcoin miners, which they then used to generate a return or dividend and then pay you out this dividend. Now, the problem is it's a web page and you don't know if they actually own the miners or not. Now, once we start to withdrawing money, we realized very fast that this website was a good way or was a good place to send money to, but not to get money out. So the dream of passive income through this cloud mining thing was definitely a lie. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, what was like the first point in time where you realized, okay, crypto isn't as easy as you initially thought?
Yeah, for me, I see it with a lot of people that come in. Like, obviously, we have coached over thousands of people and, there's different levels when they join us. But I think the first step is actually, you kind of live in fantasy lands. Yeah. You kind of live in Disneyland. I was like that as well, My friend of mine called me and was like, bro, you need to invest in this. Put money, $500 in it, and you will get $100 passively every week for the rest of your life. And you can compound that money back. You just said what happened at the end, but it was just this dream, I'm just going to get rich of it easily, fast, and I don't have to do any work, right? So for me, it was this cloud mining. This was the thing. Like today, it's maybe meme coins or AI, whatever. There's always the new thing. And at my time also, it was XRP, Cardano, and cloud mining. These are the things that kind of drew me in. And where I was super fascinated, I also, I went on Coinbase and I saw the top 10 coins and I see, damn, Bitcoin's way too expensive. I'm not buying that shit. ETH, way too expensive. I'm not buying that. XRP though, it's only 5 cents or whatever it was. I'm going to buy that, or 50 cents. And then I thought I was going to get rich super quick. And you kind of live in fantasy land. You don't actually understand the crypto space, but that's normal. That's the beginning of the journey. And, a lot of people, I believe, because we will go through at least 7 steps of, advancement in crypto and how to always go to the next level. And I think one of the first levels, or one of the hardest things to do, is go from level 1 to level 2. And from level 2 to level 3, right? Yeah. Because this is where 70% of people give up. And the first thing that we address is you have to understand and you have to let go that crypto is not fantasy land. It's not an easy money generating, cash raining machine casino, right? It's not easy. And it's actually the Wild West. And it's one of the most extractive industries and most manipulated industries out there, but it's also the one where you can actually make the most rewards if you put the work in, right? So you kind of have these two sides of the same coin. And I believe what you just said is it's perfect, because this is the first belief you kind of have to let go to go to the next level. And it's, you know, that it's actually not easy money and that you need more knowledge, and you actually need to take it a little bit more seriously. And it's not, oh, I'm buying this and I'm going to be a millionaire in 1 month. It's not how it works.
Exactly. It's like with everything else in life as well. Like, we have a guy who is now interested in real estate after making multiple millions with crypto, and he learned from his like past mistakes and is now in research mode for over a year. He knows exactly that he won't buy any real estate right now, but in a year he will start doing this. And with everything in life, you first need to gain knowledge. And this is like the first realization that you will have like after a couple of months when you go into crypto. Now, there's a problem though, because knowledge or more knowledge is not necessarily generating more money.
But let's tell them this number two. Like, this is the next level.
This is the next level. So you have to understand that, like, I was like this my own. Like, I was researching a lot. Like, I knew everything about every category there is. I had once like one guy coming up to me and he was telling me, "Oh, Robin, like, how do you know so much about everything? Like, no matter what question I have, you have an answer." And the thing is, back then, this guy asked me and I was like, "But I don't make that much money. Like, what is wrong?" And like, I don't know if you can like, or if you also see this like as a real struggle, but for me, I gained a lot of knowledge, but I was not applying it. And knowing something theoretically is not guaranteeing you that you can also use it in practice, because those are like two different things. You can read about how to control your emotions, but when it comes to being in the field and actually doing the things, like controlling your emotions becomes a lot harder. And if you never apply knowledge, then this knowledge is it's nothing. It's a fugazi.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is like one of the most important realizations you have. Like, at one point you need to stop researching and you need to stop applying, and then you will actually learn how things work in reality. And maybe do you want to add something to that?
Yeah. So yeah, just to add a little bit of nuance to the transition. So first of all, you think it's fantasy land, and then once you lose your first money and you understand, okay, it's not as easy as people portray it online, you're like, damn, I need to change something about it. So the next thing you logically do is you go online to find out everything you can about crypto. Go on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. You're reading white papers, websites, Twitter feeds, and you're just gathering a lot of knowledge, right? You're getting a lot of knowledge about the space, because at this point, you don't understand that investing and knowing things about crypto are completely different to making money in crypto. Because if you'll learn about investing and making money, you will actually make money in crypto. If you only learn about crypto, you will be knowledgeable about crypto, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you will make money. And these are two big different things. And yeah, so this is, as Robin said, like, the more, I mean, knowledge is not bad, it's good. But a lot of people, first of all, they're stuck in number one and they cannot get out of this loop. So if you're there, just understand that it is not like that, and that you need, first of all, to get more knowledge. And once you go deep, like, it's good to know things about all narratives, but at the end of the day, just crypto knowledge will not make you rich unless you apply it, like Robin said, and unless you actually formulate something tangible, something you can actually use in practice with it. And this is often also the time where, you know, it's like Robin said, for me, I had a lot of knowledge and I actually made money, but I realized it was more luck than about my own knowledge. And then the next thing that I did was to join groups, a lot of groups.
To get more knowledge.
To get more knowledge.
Or more information, yeah.
Exactly, because I thought that the knowledge that I got was not the right knowledge. Yeah. So I'm the kind of guy, I will invest. I bought groups for $10,000, $15,000, $4,000. I was and still am to this day in every group imaginable that you can imagine, with all the information in the world. And this is, kind of the next step. When you're in knowledge and you go to groups to get even more knowledge, what happens?
You will quickly realize that even with all the knowledge that you have and all the information that you have from those different groups, is that like at the end of the day, you need to put in the work. And nobody is sitting next to you and clicking the buttons on your computer and doing the transactions and telling you where to put your stop loss or when to invest in a specific coin. And like nobody's doing that for you. You have to do it yourself. And I know that this is a big topic for you. I would just say like the overarching theme, which is no one is coming to save you.
It's one of the biggest realizations I had, because in my mind, first of all, I was like, okay, this is Fantasyland. And then reality struck me like a truck. And then I was like, okay, I need more knowledge. And then I went to all the groups. I paid 10K, 15K for one group. And they gave me a lot of knowledge. But at the end of the day, this is the biggest epiphany that I had, the biggest like wow moment that I had. And I was like, all right, I always had this thought that if I join all the groups, eventually I will land in one group, which will make me extremely rich and I won't have to make more money. So my initial thought was, and I think it's the same with many people, is that you need to be in the best groups, or that people know some things that you don't, to be rich. Right? You just need better information. But at some point, when you have all the best information in the world, you understand like, damn, I actually need to apply it in the real world. And I needed to do it myself, because the people that are in the groups, they're not going to go on my MacBook and be like, come on, Jack, let's make you $1 million. Come on. They won't fly to your house, open your laptop and do shit for you. That's not how it works, right? And obviously, if you want that, you can contact a hedge fund, or I'm sure people do that. But if they do, I realize they charge a shit ton of money. And if I were to do the same, I would charge an insane amount of money to invest for other people, because take on a lot of risk. So there's kind of two ways about it. It's either you do it yourself, and that was my head as well. I was like, okay, either I take my money, if I really don't want to work, and I give it to a professional, like a hedge fund or super intelligent people, and I tell them, hey man, manage it, and you get whatever, 50% of your profit. First of all, it's super expensive. Second of all, you kind of get screwed over with the percentages in most cases. And third thing is, you're taking all the risk, and they might do, they might lose your money, right? So it's not guaranteed. So you have a lot of risk, it's expensive, and you don't learn shit. So for me, it was not a great risk to reward. And this was the big moment where I was like, oh my God, I actually need to do it myself.
Yeah.
I need to put some work in.
It's also like on the point of like letting other people manage your money. Like they not necessarily have the best interest for you in mind. So in their mind, they have a business and they want to make money with it. So the question is, okay, are they actually putting in the work for you? Like, are they giving 100% for you? And the simple answer to that is no. Like, they either play it extremely safe or go high risk with your capital to like maybe get lucky, but because they are not like responsible for the downside, they go into unnecessary high risk investments, lose it all, and then tell you, sorry, didn't work out. So especially in crypto.
Yeah.
So it's really like important to understand that you are the sole like navigator of your life. And the earlier you realize that you have the full control over where your ship is heading, the higher is the likelihood of getting to where you want to go. If you let someone else navigate it for you, maybe you will get there, but maybe also not. Like,
and also,
power.
You go down the rabbit hole at some point. That's what it was with me when I joined a lot of group. I was like, damn, I need good signals. So I joined a group. I get good signals for a small period of time in a bull market because everything goes up, and you could literally throw a dart at a CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap, and make money. But then you're like, okay, that's good. The signals work. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to do anything. But they only charge me $100 a month. But that's okay because I'm making thousands.
Yeah.
And then what happens? Bad call, bad call, bad call. They don't teach you anything about sizing, about nothing. And also, when you make money, you get super greedy. So I remember myself, I see two good calls And the third call, I was like, fuck that, I'm using leverage because the first two worked that well.
Yeah.
I used leverage getting wiped out. I mean, not completely wiped out, but, lose a ton of money. And I was like, shit, okay, now I need a better group with better signals. And then you do this over and over. And first of all, you understand that the big guys, they don't necessarily have better signals. And that, yeah, I mean, it kind of goes up, the quality, but at some point you realize, man, like I'm going to be dependent on this guy for the rest of my life. What happens if they die? God forbid. What happens if they retire? What happens, like there's many ifs, do you really want to be dependent on a guy giving you signals, And yeah, for me, it was a big realization, and I wanted also to do it on my own. And because I'm also a guy, I want to control my own fate. I won't give my hard-earned money in the fate of someone else, even if they're good. Like, I can tell you from experience, I've been in all groups that you can possibly imagine, and the only good ones are actual professional hedge funds and people that charge a lot of money for it and that are ice cold professionals, right? And most of them don't even give advice. The most money I made was because I had a friend which was extremely successful in crypto. He's also big on Twitter, but he doesn't offer only to his family and friends, right? And this is how we profited from it. So this is a big realization that we made. Also, one last thing. I know you want to add something, but like the people will ask, okay, but you have a group as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to be completely transparent. I do it for selfish reasons because I want to teach people my style, and through them understanding my style. First of all, I don't manage money for other people. I always tell that to people, like, I'm not going to manage your money. If you want, go to a hedge fund. If you want, go to this people. We're here to teach people how we invest, and I want to create clones of me, and then that they have my system, and so that we can innovate faster, right? Because we will get to this at 0.6 or 7. I want clones of me that will give me new ideas for my investment system and thus make me more money. I cannot emphasize how many times people in my coaching, in my group, first of all, gave me coins and ideas which I never thought of. I made money through coin recommendations, which I would never have researched. And second of all, my systems are getting better because I'm getting new ideas and some clones of me, which are just making my process better and better and better. And this is why I make the coaching, and also because we make money of the business, obviously. And I also wanted some cash flow and not only be reliable on my investments, because I believe that if you're only relying on your portfolio and your investment, it just does something to you mentally, and you won't perform as well if you always have this kind of pressure, like, shit, I need to make this because it's my living. You won't perform as good as being like, okay, I have cash flow, I have cash reserves, and I'm just investing with a clear mind. It makes a huge difference. Yeah, I'm sorry for talking that long, but I needed to get it off my chest.
Right. But you touched on something there, like your system. And like we covered a lot, like what it means to understand that no one is coming to save you, and like help you to click the buttons and when to click the buttons and everything like that, like in this direction. Like when you realize that you're on your own, you also realize that you need to create your own set of rules. So you need to understand, like, okay, when do I act emotionally? Okay, when my position size is like over 5% of my portfolio in a high risk investment. So I skim down the position size, so my emotions are also like that are in check. So once you realize that you have to do this in order to become successful in crypto, you start creating those rules, those systems, those principles that are applicable to you. And this is what people consider a coin as an edge. Like at one point, your system will become profitable and you will make better and better investments. And over time, you will realize, okay, I may be very good at like understanding money flows in crypto. And I have like a background in whatever, like database and analysis or something like that. And you realize that you're really good at that because you have like a natural talent for that. So you slowly go into that direction and develop your edge. And this is what you focus on with your system, and you get better and better and better. And now what you said is that you basically create clones of yourself. And this is basically, we will touch on that in a second, but the way how we developed or upgraded our system. Because like when we think about the 2021 and 2020 bull market, like one edge that we had was that we work together. And when I say we work together, this means we sat in front of a whiteboard and try to understand like a specific project, try to understand the mechanics behind it, try to understand the sustainability. I found a folder when I was moving out of Germany, which was like this big. White papers and analysis that we did together. And we understood that our way, how we work together and understand information together gives us an advantage over other people in crypto because we understand certain areas way faster than they do. And this is also how and why we created the group, because we are in a position where we can teach people our system, and we are also benefiting of that because we just improve our edge. So our edge is not dependent on only having like a couple of people knowing the system and then like making sure that nobody else finds out about how we do our research, but our research actually benefits of multiple people doing the exact same thing. So yeah, once you realize that no one is coming to save you, you start to develop your own rules and systems. But, and this is also something that we realized in the DeFi summer, is that the more complexity you add, the more or the slower your overall process becomes, less and also less efficient. And less efficient means less profitable. So you add variables, you add parameters. You look at, for example, macro, you look at different sets of indicators, you look at tokenomics, you look at the team, you look at the use case of the token, and so on and so forth. Like you create an investment thesis which is 20 pages long. And in the end, all that mattered was that the coin had a nice ticker. This is a very simplified version of explaining it. But in the end, in crypto, there are a couple of needle or things that move the needle, and everything else is noise and just you wasting your time. And this is actually the next point, number 4. The more complexity you add, the less money goes or the less money comes out at the end. Simplicity is king. So this is, for example, also how like big business owners run their companies. For example, Elon Musk. What he's doing is he's just like looking at the things that make the rocket fly and make the rocket land. And everything else, which is like a fancy add-on. So the astronauts have like a better way to get their food or whatever. So all of that stuff gets cut out and he only focuses on the things that are actually important. And you have worked a lot on the systems lately, so I think you can talk about
time, so you guys know where we are. Right. And also because we talked about why we do the business, if you think that you have what it takes and you want to become a good crypto investor and you think that you can follow a certain strategy and become better, to work with us, I would be delighted to work with you. Just contact Robin and yeah, so we can make money together, innovate in forever, and become the best investors out there, because that's our mission. And after that, now I want to summarize. So first of all, the first step is realizing that crypto isn't easy money and that you need more knowledge. And after realizing that you have more knowledge, is that you will probably find it in groups. And once you have all the knowledge in the world, you will have this big epiphany that, oh shit, I actually need to do something on my own. I need to create a system on my own. And for me, one of the biggest challenges is to come from crypto isn't easy money to the more knowledge part, that I need more knowledge. A lot of people, they take some time. For me, I don't know, it went quite quickly, but I realized it with a lot of people that they're way too optimistic and they just need to get burned, I guess. So if you're in this stage, just, you know, you can directly go to the next one. And for the more knowledge parts in the groups, it's kind of the same thing, right? Like this is where I think 80% of the people are stuck. They are in the more knowledge. They always gather more knowledge, but they don't apply it to a set of rules which you can follow. Yeah. Right? I think really 80% of people don't have a plan. They have a lot of knowledge, but they don't put it together in a plan. So this is, for me, was the biggest realization. I think this is where most of you viewers will be. And what you will need to understand is that you need to take all the knowledge which you have and you need to turn it into a set of rules, because you will have tangible results. You'll see, okay, my rules, it's quantitative data. So you can see it with your own eyes how you're performing. And then from there, you make adjustments and you become better. And at the end, you will have one of the best systems in the world if you're good at it. But this is the next point which we have. So for me, I understood, okay, I need my own set of rules. So I created my own set of rules, but it had a lot of weak points, right? So I started working more on it and more. I started dwelling into macro, into trend analysis, mean reversion, and I was trying to combine everything. I did super complicated thesis and correlations with gold and the Japanese yen and like super intertwined, correlations. I put them all together, a set of rules. And then just to reach to one decision, I had to go over 20 data points. It was super complex to keep it running. And my results weren't necessarily better than, just buying a good ticker. So this is the epiphany that I had. I was like, okay, this doesn't work. You kind of understand that you need to simplify stuff. I cannot tell you exactly what... I read a book actually from Daniel Kahneman, which talked about performance in finance. And he said that this was the big epiphany. I read a book and a guy said, the more complex your strategy is in finance, the more likely it is to fuck up. And there's like kind of a golden ratio. Obviously, it's like shouldn't be overtly simple, but a lot of smart people, they tend to over complexify things. There's a golden rule, where you need like 7 to 8 parameters. You can even take it to 10 or 12, but you need to simplify. And this was the big aha moment for me. I was like, damn, my thing is way too complicated. I have full spreadsheets of rules, what to do. And then I simplified it into a more, I focused on quality over quantity. And that was the big breakthrough, which took me to the next level on my systems. And I used ChatGPT, deep research. I was like, from all my parameters, trim down the ones that are the most important, which, for example, if you look at Bitcoin's price and you have 5 parameters, these are completely fictional, right? Let's say global liquidity, Ethereum price, and 20 others, right? You just analyze with deep research on ChatGPT which has the biggest impact on Bitcoin. And then you just choose the top 5, fuck off the rest, and then you have a simple, high impactful system.
And this is also something like, I have a story about this. Like the guy who made like millions with crypto that we know. And he started to look into macro a lot recently. And we have another guy who also got into trading recently. And this guy who got into trading had a very simple system. But the multi-millionaire who had like a lot of different systems that indicators that he looked at was like scared because of the data that he just recently found in the world of macro. Macro has a lot of data. Like you have a lot of data points that come in daily. You have every country, every economy in the world. You basically have daily updates on different macro economies. And most of the time people say that they are bad, that a recession is coming. And this, like, more data is not necessarily helping you to make a decision, but rather makes you stop to make the right decision based on the 5 indicators that actually move the price of Bitcoin. And especially in crypto, like there are correlations to the real world, but there aren't correlations, for example, between the export data of South Africa and the price of paper. Like
there kind of is, though.
Yeah, okay, maybe there is a correlation, but is this important? Like, does it really matter?
That's a question.
We have to run it.
Do you really have to look at that? It might have a small impact, but is it really that important? That's a question.
Is it like, okay, maybe it has an impact, but is it the right thing that you should look at?
It's like saying, what has the biggest impact on your life? Is it your education, your parents? But maybe if you ate this croissant today, like you could have thrown up and this could have led to a chain of events, but it's not like one small instance is not as important as, let's say, you eating a croissant has not the same impact as what your mom and dad told you when you were
I
small.
have the perfect
Things like that.
example.
Maybe you have a better analogy.
So if you want to be healthy, you don't want to do sport. You sit on your couch, you're fat, but you eat like healthy food. You know that there's like a research paper which says, okay, 80% of your health is coming from sport. So if you are not doing like any fitness activities, all the supplements in the world won't help you. Like you will still get sick with 60 and die. Easy. Like the easiest way or the biggest mover or the biggest factor was to go to the fucking gym and do some fitness. So it's the same in investing and the same in crypto. There are some things which matter more than other things. And it's the 80% rule. 80% of the output comes from 20% of whatever things you're looking at. Yep. So you can always skim down to the things that actually matter. Maybe the exports of South Africa lead to some chain reaction, which will then blow up your alcohol portfolio. But the chances are so small that it doesn't matter. And the other things that you look at also take that into account, but I'm not saying, okay, maybe when you, for example, look at the imports of the US, do you really have to look at the exports of most countries?
Yeah, no.
Exactly, because this one data point summarizes most of the others.
I think we talked.
Yeah. Okay. So you get the point. Yeah.
Simplify. And then the thing is, once you simplify, you have a good set of rules and you're making money, that's great. But let me tell you something, because I had and still have, I think, a good system and I'm making money. However, the world catches up with you. Financial markets are one of the most competitive things ever. I saw that since in the last 50 years, the world has become so financialized that the brightest and smartest people before 50 years, they all went to physics, engineering, chemistry. And now all the top math people, you know who they get recruited by? Citadel, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, they all go to financial services. Yeah. So it's maybe the most competitive field in the world, and you always need an edge. So you cute little strategy, which works. It might work for, I don't know, it might work. But here is the next step. Once you have a good strategy, run it, all right? But at some point, you will always need to innovate, because there will be a point where your strategy is not going to work. And you don't want to be too late. And once it doesn't work, you have to redo all the work. How I do it is just I innovate constantly, right? So once you have this nice strategy, what you do is just you constantly innovate. You go online, you do some more research, you look at more data points. How can I put my strategy better? You test your strategy more, you innovate more, because no system on the planet stays perfect. And this is the next step. Once you have a simple, robust, good system, the work is not over, right? And little spoiler alert, the work will never be over, all right? So there will never be a point unless you say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. There will always be work to do, and you will always innovate, because as I said, the world is hyper competitive. There's a lot of people who want to be in the spot that you are. And there's people putting in 16 hours a day to catch you and to become a better investor than you. And at some point, they will get your level to your system strategy, and they will invent something on top or add something on top, which will make the strategy even better. And then you won't have this edge anymore, and you don't make as much money. And over time, you lose your edge and you're done.
I think a good example for that are unlocks. I don't know, like the first time when, like it was in 2020 where we like used them, or 2021 and used them to like understand like where the coin goes next, because unlocks weren't like widely known. Like there were some people talking about it, like Kobe, for example, but they were actually something that you could have used to make money via shorting, because people didn't know that they exist. Like it was like tokenomics was like a big thing for most people that they never really understood. And nowadays, unlocks are public, like everyone knows about them. Like there's always like some newsletter talking about the billions of dollars which will get unlocked at this specific date. So let's take that example because it's very, like, this is a good one. Back in the days, unlocks were very simple. Token got unlocked, token dumped. Nowadays, teams also know that people look at that. So they do like marketing events around the unlocks, and the token is not necessarily dumping right away. It maybe even goes up, and then over time it slowly fades into or slowly goes down, and because also investors understand that they can't sell everything at once. So you could still use unlocks as one or as a cornerstone in your investment or in your trading setup, but you have to play it way smarter than back in the days. You needed to innovate. Otherwise, this strategy wouldn't be useful anymore. So an edge only stays an edge for some time, but you have to constantly evolve. And then you stay on top of the game. So
yeah, I think you covered it. That was a very good analogy, and I agree with you. And yeah, that's kind of the next step. So once you have a robust, good, simple system, you innovate and you constantly become better.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of things that people face, and they do wrong innovation, right? Or they do very rigid innovation. They stay in the financial sector, they read all financial books, etc. But here comes the next step. If you want to innovate like a top 0.001% investor in the world, what you do is you get creative and you look at places where your competition is not looking at. Like most people, what they would do, and that's not wrong, you can do this in the beginning, I did it as well. You want to innovate, you learn from other super great investors, and you stay in the financial markets and be like, okay, what is this guy doing? How I'm going to read this financial book, this financial book, this financial book. I will broaden my horizon and put these things into my system. But that's what everyone does. If you really want to become a master and a pro, in my eyes, what I did and what I'm still doing to this day, I'm studying stuff that's completely or more abstract and unrelated. For example, we looked at physics. I looked at Benoit Mandelbrot, which is a mathematician who applied like the fractal theory, you know? I mean, this is kind of common in the financial world, but, you know, look in the physics space, look at history, look at chemistry, you know, and try to combine it with your system in finance. Maybe read some academic papers, some studies, some psychology, some statistics, because I'm telling you, first of all, the harder it is, the less people will do it and the more edge you will find. And second of all, the more abstract it is, the less people will do it also. So after innovation comes creative innovation. And if you have creative innovation, this is where you will do a unique strategy. You'll have a unique system which no one else on the planet has. And then you made it.
Yeah, then you made it. And creativity doesn't necessarily mean that you only try to work on yourself. So like what was a creative edge for us is to actually educate other people and use them to improve our edge. So like in the end, you want to find, like either you want to improve the flow of information that comes to you through better filters, or you want to like increase the amount of information that you get. This is what we currently do. And like the next step is to become really, really efficient at how the information flows in CryptoGameplan itself. So this is also a way how you could like create your, like how you can creatively increase your edge. After a small incident with the camera, we are back. So we covered that you need to innovate and that you should also think about like creative ways to improve your overall edge. So the last point is very simple, which is stick with it.
Easy.
So most people stop at one point because they feel like it's too much work. And I get it. It is like, it's not as easy as you initially thought. You have to put in the work. But actually, one thing that we realized when working with clients is they made a lot of improvements in the beginning. They started to improve their systems. They created their edge with us and started to use it. Also made huge gains in the bull run, but then had one event which led them to lose money again and got demotivated, even if they had an edge. So the worst thing that you can do then is to say, I give up. And this is also something that we realized in our personal lives. Like we always made the biggest successes after sticking to it for a longer period. And I don't talk about 1 year or 2 years. I talk about 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Like how long are we in crypto? 7 years? 7 years, close to 8 years actually. I think this year.
For me, it was January 2018, so 7 years, yeah.
7 years.
Between 7 and 8 years.
So we made our biggest steps after 3 years.
It was the first time we were profitable.
Yeah. And there's a lot of truth to it. No matter what you do, you will become successful eventually if you continue to improve your systems. And the only thing that could lead you to not become successful is you giving up. This is the absolute killer of success, I would say.
Just don't be a quitter.
Don't be a quitter.
Like look at all the greats, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger, Ray Dalio, Scott Bessent, Donald Trump. You know, they did it for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. And that's just the moral of the story, right? Like whatever you do, one of the easiest way to win in the long term is just to do it the longest, right? It's that easy. If you go to the gym for 5 years, 10 years, I started my journey 1.5 years ago, and I'm planning on doing it at least for the next 10 years. I started my crypto journey 7 years ago, and I'm planning to do it the next 10, 20 years of my life. So who wins the race? A guy that is consistent, that does 30 minutes a day, for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or someone that does 16 hours a day for 1 year and then gives up because he has nothing to prove and because it's actually hard to do it. And I did the calculation, and I think the biggest milestone is reaching 10,000 hours in a field. And I also read the book Mastery from Robert Greene, and he said the first step of mastery is putting in 10,000 hours. But if you actually want to be one of the best, you need to put 20,000 hours. And I think I calculated it. And if you put 16 hours per day, which is virtually impossible, right? Because you would have to do it from Monday to Sunday, 16 hours without interruption, without eating, without nothing, which is very hard to do. And this would take you 2 years, right? So you can split that. If you do 8 hours a day, that's already 4 years. And that's how you come to 10,000 hours. But already doing 8 hours per day is hard because it implies that you do it on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, every fucking day, and 8 hours of pure work, right? Do you understand now how long it takes? And if you put it down to 4 hours, it can take you 8 years to get there. So you just need to adapt your expectations, and you don't need 10,000 hours to be comfortable. I'm just talking if you really want to be the master and the best in the world, because for me personally, I want to be the best in the world, and I'm not satisfied with being millionaire, being successful, whatever. I want to be the best. And I know that I need my 20,000 hours, and I will get there. I will do everything because I'm not a quitter. I'm already enjoying the fruits of my labor, but I also always remember how tough it was and how many times I wanted to quit. And I'm telling you, every single time that I look at my life now, I look back at these times and I'm like, thank God that I didn't give up, because it is so fucking worth it at the end. And if you do this, like for 20, 30 years, it's virtually impossible to be bad at it. Imagine you do something for 20 years. Like, how high is the probability that you can suck? Like, you have to be, I don't know, man. You have to be super stupid, and you have
to like do the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over without learning from them.
And one last thing comes from Alex Hormozy, and he was like, if you really want to reach a goal, just envision, put it in your mind, how much work would you need to put in for your goal to be unreasonable to be achieved, right? Like, think, how many hours would I need to do that where I would be like, okay, I should be able to make, let's say, $100,000 in crypto.
Yeah.
Maybe it's 10,000 hours, maybe it's 5,000 hours. Put a number in your head and be like, okay, if I really work that many hours, I should get that number. And then you just stick to it. And you can obviously make millions with less work than that. There's faster ways to get there. For example, if you have a mentor and you want to get, like, a guy who works 10,000 hours without a mentor will get wrecked by someone who works 10,000 hours with a mentor and with good feedback. So obviously there's some nuances. You can get there faster, way faster than 10,000 hours. I'm just talking for to the guys out there that want to be lone wolves and to adjust their expectations, because also when you see P&Ls on Twitter, people making 10 million, 20 million, 1 million a month, people don't know, and I know because I know some of these guys. They've been in TradFi. They've been working at Goldman Sachs for 10 years, 15 years. You know how investment bankers work, right? They work like crazy, 12-hour days, 14-hour days, 16 hours a day. They don't have a life. They don't have a family. They sacrifice everything. And then they post shit on Twitter, how much money they make. And some random guy who didn't make money after 6 months, like, damn, how can he make 1 million? And I cannot. Like, people underestimate how much dedication flows into it, how many mentors you need, how much time you invest, how much money you invest, and it's just how life is, and everything else is a blatant lie.
Exactly. So we are not here to sell you a dream. We sell you the reality and we tell you it is possible, but this is necessary to get there. This is a game. There's no easy way. With everything else, there are easier ways than others. You said it, with a mentor, it always just improves your feedback loop. Because if you do everything on your own, you wander around and think, okay, like, what was wrong about the things I've made or did in the past? So if you have someone who tells you what was wrong, obviously you will get to your goal faster. This is just logical. If you have a group of people and you also see how others are approaching a certain topic, this obviously also improves your feedback loop because you also learn from them. So joining groups where everyone is working towards the same goal and having a mentor is just a better way to get better feedback and become better faster. And I think we can end it here, right?
Yeah, I'll do a quick summary. So the first realization that we have is that crypto is not easy money and that you need more knowledge. When you have more knowledge, you go into more groups, and then you realize that all the information in the world will not save you if you don't apply a certain framework to your knowledge. And once you have this framework, you will most likely overcomplexify it, and then you will understand that you need to put more high quality, simpler rules into it. And once you have done that, you will understand that you cannot be rigid and that you need to constantly innovate. And once you constantly innovate, you need to understand that you need more creativity and look at places where other people are not looking to make a unique strategy, which no other people can copy you. And once you have done that, you just need to understand that you need, if you want to be the best in the world, if you eventually want to become a billionaire or make hundreds of millions, the best way to do it is to stick with it, never to quit, do it for 15 to 20 years, and then you will achieve mastery. And also, please let us know in the comments in which of these 7 steps you are, and tell us if it helped you to get to the next step. And also, you can comment down this video in which step you are, and if you want, you can ask for help, and we will guide you how to get to the next step of your journey.
So if you need actionable advisors, use the comment section. Okay, so with that being said, it was a pleasure talking with you, Jack.
It was a nice one.
It was a pleasure talking or showing you this, guys, and see you in the next video.
See you in the next one.
Bye-bye.